Objective for today in our work together, okay, is to explain how specific aspects. Will you do this with me? Aspects. And do that emotionally. Aspects. So notice that I'm touching my elbows, right? I'm touching my elbows and my knees. Okay, because when you look at the picture, it's a diagram of a grasshopper, right? And when we have different aspects, we're thinking about different parts. So I could say this is my whole body, or I could say there's some aspects of my body of my elbows and my knees, right? So we're thinking about different aspects of a text, illustration, that convey. Do it with me. Convey. That convey. And convey just means to add to. So when you look at the image, you see that plus sign, right? So we're looking at how do specific aspects of an illustration contribute or convey, right? Contribute to what is conveyed as far as the message. So when we're thinking about what we read, we have illustrations and we have words, right? So our job today is to say, well, how do specific aspects of an illustration help to convey or express something in the story? Because we're good at identifying characters and setting and plot and all these things in the words, but it can be a little more challenging when we say, do the illustrations convey that too? So that's why you have some of those pictures, because we're really going to be looking for what do the illustrations, right, what are the different aspects, what do they convey about the message the author is trying to share. And let's try this. With your elbow partners, identify one person that's going to have their eyes closed and the other person who will have their eyes open. Raise your hand if you're going to have your eyes closed. So, if your eyes are closed, please close them. If your eyes are open, please look at me, because it's going to be your job to convey to the other person what you're seeing. Okay? Some eyes are closed, some eyes are on me. Ready?
Stop.
Okay, now turn to that person and tell them, what did you see me do? Talk to another person.
Nothing. We're jealous.
So there's the three of you guys all work together. Can the three of you work together? Are you two working together? Who's your elbow partner? Well, it looks like those two. Try this again. It's me that conveyed the very next message.
And I saw her.
So if your eyes were closed, right, some of the things that you saw me do, right, you saw my hands on the hips, right, that could convey to you that I'm annoyed, right? If your eyes were closed, you couldn't see that. Some of the things I did, I rolled my eyes, and right, I looked exasperated, right, showing me that I'm impatient. So if you couldn't see me, maybe you didn't quite get that because maybe the person telling you didn't convey that message. So there's an example of an illustration, right, so you can see, giving you a message that you can't hear. Let's try one more time. So again, if your eyes are closed, close them. If your eyes are open, look at me. Okay. Eyes are closed, other eyes are on me. Here we go. Right? Eyes are closed, other eyes are on me. Open and talk. Okay, what did you see?
Tyler, talk to me.
She has smiles like this. She likes surprise. That's my emotion.
So some of the things you saw me do, right? My hands went up in the air, right? And that could signal I was surprised or excited or jubilant, right? You also saw my hands maybe go like this, right? They clutched together or they clenched down, right, with a smile on my face. That's a good signal: excitement, surprise, happiness. So today our objective is to take a look at specific aspects, right? You might have told your partner, well, she's happy. But in order to really meet the objective, you would have to tell them why. Well, I knew she was happy because her hands went up. I knew she was happy because she smiled. She crouched down like she was excited. So that will be our challenge today. With some of the books that I brought, can we see what the illustrator is trying to convey or express through the illustration? And do the words actually prove it? So flip over to the other side. And this is what we'll be using to document what we have. So when we document, we're actually looking to say, what are we thinking? Right? May I borrow yours? Thank you. you take a look, right, here are some of the things we'll be looking for in the illustration. Okay? When we look at the illustration, we're saying, what are some of the things that are conveyed? Well, sometimes the picture will convey mood, right? How do you feel? And I'm looking for a change in the character's face or body or stance. Sometimes illustration will give me more info about the character, right? What are their motivations? Sometimes they'll just give me some extra clues. So before I send you off on your first rotation, let me give you one example of what I mean. While I show you the picture, I want you to challenge yourself, how can you use this to document what you're seeing? So based on what we see in the illustration, right, for me, you could have put hands in the air, right? And because my hands were in the air, what did that make you think or feel? Well, it made you think or feel that I was excited.
Or happy.
Or happy.
You're right.
If there were words to go with me, you could say, well, are there any words that support her jubilation, right? But let's try it with a book. Let's try it with one illustration. So this might be a book that you've read or heard before.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you, Mr. Falcon. I have. No.
So let's ignore what we know about the story and zoom in on an aspect of the illustrations. Remember, aspects mean parts of, right? Not the whole picture. So when I zoom in on one aspect of the illustration, my eyes right away might zoom on to her face. And so I'm saying, what do I see? Well, I see red cheeks, right? So on my first column, what do I see? I could write red cheeks. And even though I might feel something, I'm not going to write what I feel yet. That first column is, what do I see? I see red cheeks. So based on what I see, red cheeks, what does that make me think or feel? That would be the next column, right? That's where I could be flipping over and getting one of those good mood words. So based on what I see, right, if I put red cheeks, so if I see red cheeks, well, what does that make me think? Right, that's your second column. Well, it makes me think that she's what? Call it out. Call it out.
Mad.
Mad. What else?
Embarrassed. Frustrated.
Yep, it could be mad. It could be frustrated.
Embarrassed.
It could be embarrassed. Now notice, am I writing? Yeah, am I writing full sentences?
No.
Nope. Because it's just me getting my thoughts off. Okay. So based on what I saw red cheeks. What did it make me think? Well, she could be mad, frustrated, embarrassed. That third column comes if I had some words next to it, right? Do I have any words? Not really, right? But if I open up to that part of the book, okay, here is kind of part that's related to that story, right? Where it really talks about, you know, throughout her schooling, how embarrassed she is that she doesn't see herself as a reader, right? And so again, we see those red cheeks. If I'm documenting change in the character, I'm starting to get a real mood of sadness from this story, right? A real mood of frustration, because in a lot of the illustrations we look at, now sometimes it's different, right? Sometimes there's a little bit of pride there because he's giving her a compliment on her illustration. But many times, right, here's our illustration, it's frustration. So now the third column says, can I prove it? So let's see, can I prove it in what the words say? Is she really frustrated? So when I'm skimming through, it says, but when Trisha looked at a page, all she saw were wriggling shapes. And when she tried to sound out words, the other kids laughed at her. Now if someone's laughing at you, would that give you a reason to get red in the face and feel embarrassed?
Yes.
It does, right? So there's where we could go to the third column and say, well, can you prove it? Well, yes, we can, because I would just put laughed at. And I'm looking right at the words from the story. Laughed at. Not writing the whole thing. So based on what I saw red cheeks, right? What did it make me think? It made me think that Trisha was embarrassed or frustrated. And how can I prove it from the words? Well, the author's telling me that she got laughed at. And that I think would make anyone feel embarrassed. So that's your challenge as you go off in your first rotation. If you're reading to self, we should see you doing what you're doing now. Your book should be next to you. And when you come to an illustration, you should be taking a look at the illustration saying, what do I see, what do I think, and can I prove it? If you're reading with someone, this is what you should be doing. Your switchboard should be next to you, and the two of you should be talking about the illustrations that you see and what can you learn from it. If you're writing to self, you can be going to your own writing and saying, do I have any illustrations? And what are those illustrations showing?